Hey everyone, welcome back to Fantastic Monday. Bitcoin was going up today, miners were going up today huge. There were only like two miners that only went up single digits percentage wise, but the rest were up double digits. So fantastic day. I hope you guys obviously enjoyed it. We may have a couple more of these. We'll see what goes on with Bitcoin, the miners today as well. We'll take a look at that. And we'll also take a look at Cipher. There's some news from Bitfury as far as how much they're going to be actually giving away their shares to their current shareholders. And it's not as much as we originally thought. We'll take a look at that. And then Iren provided us with an update. They increased their hash rate. We'll take a look at that. And we'll call it a day. It should be a pretty easy one today. So, as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm investing in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And then also corrections will be posted to Discord, which is through Patreon, and then YouTube community posts and Twitter as well if we make any mistakes, okay? So let's get into Bitcoin and the miners here. As I said, they had a fantastic day here today. And you can see here, obviously, Bitcoin had what some might be calling a God candle. I don't think it was quite the God candle, but we were up huge today. We were up 5.42% on the day. We closed at 54,533 on Bitcoin. We did get a high of 54,980, which was definitely nice here. And right now we're basically up in the new day as well. We're up a little bit here. We're up 0.76. We're currently at 54,000. What is that? 953. So we're right at that point where we were basically in the peak of today. So we're battling with that right now. It seems like that might be kind of a resistance here at 55,000 right now, roughly at that point, because the high on this one is 54,000. Oh, there we go. We just tipped 55,000 right there. 55,000 was the high right now, and we're getting above it right now. So maybe we'll breach that too without a problem. And then our next kind of resistance might be at around, if we look at it here, probably around like the 54,500 mark, or sorry, 57,500 mark, as that's going back to the previous halving cycle, but the previous bull cycle. That's kind of where we had support back then, and that's the green line right here. Okay, so things are looking up pretty good for obviously Bitcoin and the miners. Miners, obviously, like I said today, had a huge day. A lot of these guys, double-digit gains here. Any was up 14%, Argo up 18%, Bit Digital up 17%. Bittier was up 23%, Bitfarms was up 19%, Cipher up 12%, CleanSpark up 23, almost 24%, Cores up 6%. So the Cores is one of the ones that obviously was in single digits here. And then we had DigiHost up 15, almost 16%, DMG up 17, almost 18 as well, Hive up 11, almost 12, Hut 8 up almost 18 here, 17.9, Iris Energy up almost 12, 11.8, Marathon up 21.6, Mawson up 20%, Riot up 16.9, so almost 17. Stronghold was the other one that was in single digits here as far as percentage gains, 7.7%, and Wolf was up 15.27%. Some of the ones I'm surprised by are obviously like Mawson. There's really no news for them to be going up. That one's going to be definitely interesting to take a look at going forward. And then the other one that I was kind of surprised by was Argo, also going up 18%, right? We know they're going to be kind of in trouble, but if Bitcoin continues going up, they might not be in trouble come halving event. Because at that point, if the Bitcoin's over, 60, 70,000 or something like that, come halving, well, those miners might not be in such bad shape then into the halving or after the halving event, okay? So that's something to be always mindful of. And then let's get into the two things that we do have to talk about here, which is going to be first one on Bitfury. So as you recall, a couple of weeks back, Bitfury stated that they're going to be basically giving out shares to their shareholders. They're going to be giving out Cipher shares that they own, right? Because they own a lot. But here we have some more information on it, and we have actual data here. So we'll get into it here. So Bitfury Group announces approval of distribution of Cipher Mining Inc. shares. And here's what we have. So today they announced the shareholder approval of non-dilutive distribution of approximately 126 million common shares currently held by Bitfury and Cipher Mining. Like I said, that's a lot. That's not all of it. But that's the part that they're going to be kind of not diluting. They're going to be giving out to their shareholders. So of the 126 million common shares of Cipher, approximately 107 million shares will be distributed by Bitfury to its long-term shareholders on a pro rata basis, including approximately 50 million shares being distributed to the majority owner of Bitfury, which is V3 Holding Limited, a holding company wholly owned by Bitfury's CEO. So the CEO is basically getting 50 million shares, his holding company, and approximately 57 million shares being distributed in the aggregate to approximately 50 other Bitfury shareholders. So originally we were thinking it was going to be like over 100 potential. So there's a little bit less obviously here than they told us. Going down here, in addition to the pro rata distribution described above, approximately 18.5 million shares will be reserved for the benefit of former and current Bitfury employees, contractors, and advisors. Okay. The distribution of approximately 107 million shares and 18.5 million shares being allocated to employees, contractors, and advisors will reduce Bitfury's stake in Cipher to approximately 50 million shares as part of a strategically planned effort to reduce Bitfury's ownership concentration in Cipher, priming its successful spin-off for its next stage of growth. This is also a little bit misleading there, because down here you'll actually find out that they're going to hold close to 100 million shares. So here's the distribution, how it looks. Prior to distribution, you got Bitfury, 175.8 million shares. You got free float, 81.3 million shares. And then you got following distribution, they're going to have 68.5 million shares. And then over here, you get all the numbers. You can take a look at that. But here's what we have. So V3 Holding Limited is expected to beneficially own approximately 46% of the outstanding shares of Cipher following the distribution of approximately 107 million shares and reducing it to approximately 39. So V3 Holdings, so basically the CEO and his company, the V3 Holdings, is going to hold 39%, following the distribution of approximately 18.5 million shares, including both the shares V3 Holding Limited receives in the pro rata distribution and the shares which are retained by Bitfury. So with that, 39%, they're going to have about 100 million shares there, based on 257 million shares. All right, so that's kind of what they're going to be holding there. Bitfury believes that none of its other shareholders will hold positions of more than 5% of Cipher's shares as a result of the distribution. So the CEO owns V3 Holdings. He's going to be holding about 100 million shares, and then Bitfury is going to be holding also about 50 million shares, right? So combined, those two are still going to be owning close to, what is that going to be? That's still quite a bit there. So if we take 50 and 50, 100 plus 50, that's 150. That's still like over 50%. That's like 60% still that they're going to own in between those. But Bitfury itself will only hold 50% or 19.5%. And then V3 Holdings, which is owned by the CEO, is going to hold 39%, 100 million shares. Okay. Still quite a bit of concentration there in two entities, basically. Especially the CEO with his V3 Holdings Limited company. He's holding 100 million shares. Bitfury is holding 50 million shares. That's a lot of shares still being held by two people. So let me know what you guys think of that. I think that's still too much. I don't know what they can do to reduce that even further. I think that would be even better. But we'll see if this is enough for investors to maybe get in on Cipher. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. That's still, for me at least, that's still too much exposure in two entities only. But let me know what you guys think on that one. Okay. So that's it for that one. Let's get into Iris Energy here, and we'll call it a day. So Iris Energy provides 20 exahash expansion update, and here's what we have here. So Iris is pleased to, or Iris, I keep saying Iris, Iren. Where did they have Iris Energy here? They should change that logo. They changed their logo. They need to get that updated. Iren is pleased to provide an update on its expansion to 20 exahash in 2024. First half 2020-24, operating hash rate now increased to 7 exahash, so that's good. So they increased that by about 700 petahash, I think, something like that, which is good, or 800 petahash. We'll take a look at the numbers here shortly. And the remaining 3 exahash to be commissioned through the first half of 2024, so within the next 4 months. So that's good that we get them to 10 exahash. And then obviously the second half of 2024, they're looking to get into an additional 10 exahash. So of new Bitmain T21 miners secured via priced contracts. So, and then 200 megawatt expansion at existing Childress data center is also part of that. So that's all good. If they can get to 20 exahash by the end of the year, that would be fantastic. The faster they can do it, the better it would be, obviously. But let's take a look at Iris Energy here and what we have on them. And we can see here that their performance today, today was actually, let me see here. Today, I think their performance was actually pretty good. Iris Energy was, what are they at? 11%, 11, 12%. So it wasn't too bad, but not as great as some of the other ones that have, gone 20%. But looking at them, they're currently valued at about 718 million or so. The performance over the last 12 weeks has been mixed. Last 4 weeks has been a little bit better. But 12 weeks ago, they're only up 6.2%. 8 weeks, they're only up 0.2%. 4 weeks, 63%. And then last week, they were actually down 9.25%. So it's kind of mixed. Hash rate right now, 7 exahash future hash rate that they have purchased for is about, I have a 10.9. So maybe some of the older miners are going to be getting rid of there. But it's kind of what we have them at right now, what they have purchased. They have the option to purchase another 10 exahash to get to the 20, which is fine. And then you can see down here That would get us, these potentially miners are being installed here. I believe these are the 200 terahash miners. These are the S21s, right? So we installed some of those already here. We installed 2,500 of those for January, and then we installed another 4,000 here potentially in February. We'll see if they install any more because they still have about 500 left to go or so out of that batch if they got them. But that brings us to 7 exahash with 63,000 miners roughly, and that gets us to a joules per terahash rating on them at 27.31 right now, which is pretty good going into the halving event. We want miners to be below 30 if possible. Well, we want them to be below 30 joules per terahash. And then obviously if they get those installed here, maybe in March, something like that, that would bring them down even more a little bit, not that much, but it'll still bring them down for efficiency on it. And then we have all these 190 terahash miners that they have the options to buy. Or actually, no, these are still the ones that they need to get to 10 exahash. So those would be coming in sometime in possibly April, May, and June timeframe wise, and that would definitely lower their overall joules per terahash efficiency. If everything gets installed, they would be at like 24.29. So that's actually not too bad. Okay. So that's actually looking pretty good for them. The only thing, like I said before, with Iris Energy, and I'm invested in them, as you guys know, is one, they don't hodl. They don't believe in hodl. I think that's a mistake. That's just where we disagree philosophically, I guess you could say. On it, I think there's a time to hodl and a time to sell as well. I think if you can manage to hodl a little bit as you get into the halving event, right, it's going to be all that better because Bitcoin price goes up in value at that time. But they have zero hodl here, and they've also been reporting their financial results every 6 months. I think that is detrimental to them. That's at least the way I'm sure investors are looking at it, right? They would like to see quarterly results. That way they can see how they are doing, how much they are diluting, excuse me, all that stuff along the way that's associated with it, okay? But overall, I think they're really good as far as operations side of things are concerned. Their growth, all that stuff is fine. They have a healthy balance sheet as well. Let's take a look at their current liabilities. Yeah, 32 million in liabilities as of the end of second half here. And then if we look at the cash on hand or assets was 109 million. So definitely healthy balance sheet there. No real problems. They will probably have to dilute some to get to the 20 exahash, which is fine because we have other miners diluting as well. But as long as they're growing for that, that's fine with me. And let's take a look at, I didn't say this in the beginning, but what I'm going to take a look at as far as which miners right now are kind of undervalued and overvalued really quick based on the huge spike that we've seen today. These are the latest numbers that I have on all these guys here. That's including the latest stock prices for them today as well. And then you can see here on this, we have a couple that are kind of looking overvalued. So we have Riot and CleanSpark right now, right? CleanSpark has had a huge run up here. And we're using the 20 PE. Some of you have stated that the the gold miners are getting valued at like PS or PE of 35, 40, 30, somewhere around there. So maybe my multiple here is maybe a little low. So if you think my multiple is low, you can probably add onto it another price target wise as far as they're like Riot's concerned, another $10 or something like that to the top end or something like that. You know, $8 to $10 or something like that. Same here for CleanSpark potentially. Because if we do add it onto like those two guys here, and we could do that obviously to the other ones as well that are again close to being fairly valued or something like that, if you think that the multiple should be higher. But this is just for an example. I'm going to do, let's CleanSpark is fine. We'll do that one. So if we increase there to, let's just say 30 here, you could see that at that point, they would be somewhere between $20 and $30. They're currently at $20. So that would mean that they're slightly fairly valued, but potentially still undervalued from where they possibly could be at the peak right now. Also, going into the halving event, Bitcoin bull run and everything else, we've seen the miners before get up to 40 PE or PS, however you want to look at it. So there's still possible upside here as well as that continues. And then you get FOMO in, and then, you know, all bets are off at that point. They could go up much higher as well, depending where Bitcoin goes at that point. Okay, but going back here, just to kind of look at it right now, HUT seems kind of fairly valued right now, but we have to get some more data on them with the combination of USBTC being a part of it now. So that data might be not as accurate as I'd like it to be because we're only really using HUT 8's information as far as revenue is concerned right now. Once we get the information for USBTC, we'll get more data, and then I think that will get us a better picture of what they're looking like. Riot, like I said, overvalued. Cipher, undervalued. They should be, you know, they're down from where I think they should be. Like, they should be $5.90 higher to the high side to $2.80 to the lower side of things. Hive, same thing, undervalued. They should be at like $8.99 to $5.99 right now. Marathon is pretty fairly valued right now. They're a little bit overvalued on the 50%, but on the 75%, they're undervalued still here. So there's still some upside here, potential 16%. DigiHost is, by my account, should be around $4.92 to $7.38, but there might be some things with the miners, like debt, which we don't really take into account here. So that might be why that they are where they are in price right now. Okay, Iris Energy, 1554 to 23. So they look pretty undervalued here based on having a healthy balance sheet, good growth there. And then you got Argo. Argo has a little bit more upside here, potentially about 3 cents to $1.28. Bit Digital, only $1.45 at the most here right now, but we have to see with them as far as their AI is concerned. DMG, 2 cents to 29 cents right now, based on what we have on them. Bitfarms, $1.49 higher to $4.03 higher. So they still have quite a bit of upside potential here from where they should be. CleanSpark, like I said, is looking a little bit overvalued based on what we're seeing now, but using multiple higher, they could get everybody up here higher, and CleanSpark as well. Mawson should be like 385 to 577, but they also have issues with debt, and then also there's just other issues along with Mawson, but we're not going to get into it. But that's probably why they are where they are. TeraWolf, $5.93 to $3.95. With them, the big concern is obviously the debt. Sphere 3D, $4.64 to $6.95. Also with them, not a great balance sheet, and then a lack of growth going forward. That's a concern. That's probably why they are where they are. Core should be around $23.35 to $35, right? But Core has been in bankruptcy, so that's kind of why they are priced the way they are right now. I think investors are just waiting to get some more financial data on them, maybe at least 1 quarterly results or 2 quarterly results. And at that point, I think things might kind of pick up. But typically, investors are weary of investing in companies that just came out of bankruptcy, so that's kind of why they are priced the way they are. But they should be like 599% to 949% higher from where they are, based on the numbers that we're seeing right now with the growth and everything else. Okay, and then you got Stronghold. Stronghold should be much higher as well, but Stronghold has debt issues. They have capital cost issues as well for operations and things like that. It's not a great picture for them. So that's why they are priced the way they are for that. So also take that into account. And then BitDeer should be at like $16 to $24. So that's another $8 to $16 potentially there, 100% to 200% gains on those. So that's kind of the way things look right now. You can obviously see the companies that are doing really well. Riot, Marathon, CleanSpark are definitely way up there in price, along with Bit Digital. And then you got others like Stronghold, Mawson as well, not DMG, DigiHost, and others as well that are kind of just lagging way behind, and there's possibly reasons for that. So always look into the reasons as to why they are, right? This is just one of the things I look at, and then I look into like, what's their balance sheet like? What do they look like otherwise? What are their operations? What do they cost? Things like that. And you can see here that some of these guys here are in the red here. 34 million for Mawson, TeraWolf 144 million, right? But they paid down some of their debt here and recently, so that should be like 100 million now, depending on where their balance sheet is at the end of Q4. We'll take a look at it. Core looks, getting out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy, I think their balance sheet has been pretty much wiped clean. And then Stronghold, 81 million here. Argo, 70 million negative. Cipher was only 19 at that point in Q3, so we're waiting on Q4 results for a lot of these guys. And you can see when they reported last. So that's, you gotta look at a lot of things here going on. All right, but that is it. Also, these spreadsheets and everything else that I have on all the miners are available to my Patreon members. So this is my kind of like sales pitch here. If you guys want access to all these sheets, data, and everything else that I have, that's probably over 100,000 data points in here easily. It's only $8 a month right now if you join, and then if you join, pay a yearly fee, it's 10% off. So you get a discount on that way as well, and that's also through Patreon. And then you also get the Discord server access to that as well, where we have a lot of great communication there as well. All right, so that's my sales pitch there. We'll leave it at that, and I think we'll call it a day. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, right now, let's see where Bitcoin's at right now. It's still pumping pretty good. I mean, we're up 2.2% again. We're up to, what are we up to right now? 55,697. Man, it's going to be another fun day tomorrow, possibly, unless we get a pullback here a little bit. And based on the numbers that we're seeing here on the RSI, we're kind of high a little bit here. I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe go up a little bit higher and then have a little pullback. On the 1 hour chart, we're getting a little overheated, but we've been kind of overheated for a while the price has been going up as well. So that's looking pretty good there. That's looking fine. And then on the 4-hour chart, yeah, kind of overheated a little bit as well on that one. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. It's going to be interesting nonetheless. Let's see, where do I want to go here? I'm going to go here. We'll keep an eye on what's happening tomorrow on the miners and everything else. We'll see if somebody else reports. I think Marathon's reporting this week as far as their financial numbers are being reported for Q4 and fiscal year 2023 as well. Okay, so that is it. And I'm seeing that I'm lagging in the video a little bit. We'll have to fix that. All right, that's it. I hope you guys have a great one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then.